have a long tradition in Oxfordshire of schools working in partnership, and this is very important. The education bill that's passing through the Commons at the moment is likely to bring about greater responsibilities on governing bodies, and the local authority's role will be working with schools that are most in need of support, and good and outstanding schools will be looking towards supporting each other.
This is a time of tightening budgets, and the schools which will best meet the needs of their pupils and community will be those that can find the most efficiencies. And that may mean working together with other schools.
It's very important that governing bodies collaborate together in order to maximise what they can do for children in the partnership. We believe that it's important for all schools in Oxfordshire to work collaboratively.
Take the Didcot area. Individual primary schools are members of a partnership with 2 secondary schools. Didcot families have a range of needs which influence children's ability to learn. Schools which consider the ways they can work together to overcome barriers and improve the life chances of all young people in their locality will help raise standards and help meet the aims of the county, districts and health authorities.
The role of governors in partnership arrangements is vital. For many years, governors have seen themselves as governors in their own schools, supporting their own schools, and that is vitally important. However, I think now is the time for governors to lift their eyes beyond the 4 walls of their own school and look at what they may be able to achieve if they work collaboratively with schools and governing bodies across the partnership. They need to become community leaders rather than leaders in their own schools. Currently, partnerships operate very effectively, led by their head teachers. However, it's not possible to continue with this sort of partnership as we move forward to more structured commissioning of services and the employment of staff. New partnership arrangements will involve head teachers continuing to work together, but will involve governing bodies more. Governing bodies are the accountable authority in terms of all money spent in school, and in order to ensure that schools do not leave themselves exposed and potentially financially liable for the commissioning of services, it's very important that we link together the governing bodies in a structure that will enable this to take place within a framework that protects all schools. The new partnership structures will involve bringing together governing bodies to ensure that they are accountable for the spending of public money in a way that does not create overly bureaucratic systems and many additional meetings. The idea that we're bringing forward is based on the collaboration regulations, and they're called a Strategic Joint Committee.
The strategic role of the Strategic Joint Committee is to consider what are the needs in the partnership, what are the opportunities for working together where those governing bodies that work together will be able to get more economies of scale, better able to meet the needs of the children and young people and some of their families in that area. And so it's to collect all that intelligence that the different governing bodies have got about their communities and to draw up some plans which really make a difference to the people within their partnership. The local authority wants to encourage partnerships and therefore will give support in any way that we can to help partnerships to form closer collaboration. Governor Services has worked with other colleagues in the authority to produce a brief and practical toolkit which gives assistance to partnership governance. Tool 1 is a template formal agreement which will set out which of the schools will hold the budget for the partnership, which school will be responsible for employing staff, how any redundancy costs will be shared out, what each school's representation will be on the Joint Committee.
The composition of the Strategic Joint Committee is very much a matter for each partnership to agree amongst themselves. In Oxfordshire, the size and composition of the partnerships varies quite considerably, and therefore it would not be appropriate for us to try and create a single model that would fit all those partnerships. However, the principle behind it is that where possible, each governing body should have a governor represented on that Strategic Joint Committee, as well as the head teacher.
In a small partnership, it may be possible to have the head and one other governor. Where the partnership is larger, it would be a good idea to have half the schools represented by the head teacher and the other half by another governor. This would then be swapped over the following year. It would ensure that there was always a balance of heads and other governors. The committee will be strengthened by the appointment of associate members representing other agencies and voluntary groups with whom the partnership may wish to work. The Strategic Joint Committee must have terms of reference, making clear what powers have been delegated to it by all the governing bodies. Tool 2 provides an example which can be adapted by each partnership. It includes responsibility to draw up a development plan for partnership activity, to monitor the budget, to report on progress of the plan and budget to every governing body, to seek additional funds for partnership activity. Terms of reference also set out arrangements for chairing and clerking the committee and the quorum.
In order to make the meeting quorate, in other words, in order for there to be enough people there to give the meeting a legal status, we would recommend that there are 50% of the members of the committee present and 50% of the member schools present. This will ensure that any decisions taken by that committee have the support of all the schools in the partnership.
There may be a preliminary stage where head teachers and preferably some governors get together and review what the partnership has currently done, and then decide what activities are going to form part of the agreement for the partnership to work on. That then needs to go as a document to every governing body with the draft formal agreement and the draft terms of reference. And we are hoping that each governing body will agree those in principle and also agree to send one or two members of its governing body to the Strategic Joint Committee. The first meeting of the Strategic Joint Committee should elect a chair and vice chair for the committee, appoint a clerk, agree a list of associate members to be invited to join the committee, finalise the formal agreement and terms of reference. The finalised formal agreement and terms of reference will need to be ratified by each governing body.
I think partnerships across Oxfordshire have made a really good start at beginning to work together collaboratively.
Governors may be forgiven for thinking that this is one job that they could do without. But I believe this is a really strategic opportunity.
This framework will provide you with the security that you need in order to explore all these avenues in partnership with other schools and other agencies in order to provide and to achieve the best outcomes for children across your partnership of schools.
The Strategic Joint Committee enables you to have a more robust system that will enable the partnership to grow, to develop ideas that we haven't yet thought of. And this is the way that schools will prosper in the 21st century.